Today, I'm excited to introduce you to my friend Sarah, who I have known for over 15 years. Sarah is the mom to 4 boys, 4 active, athletic boys. And so for her, as an Enneagram 8, being able to relinquish some of that control to let them lead a bit, that is all things that she has had to learn and ways that she's had to grow as an Enneagram 8 and as a mom. I want you to listen in this episode for how she identified the fact that she had anger underneath the surface and that was hard to put her finger on at first, but once she could understand it, it had a lot of impact in how she interacted with her kids and her family. So enjoy this episode. We have Enneagram 8, Sarah Soderdahl. This is 9 in 9, Enneagram Wisdom for Life. Let's dive in. Okay, Sarah, well, welcome back. We're going to talk about motherhood. How does being an 8 impact you as a mom?
I think it has helped me be strong. I mean, that's the first word that comes to mind. When our kids were young, so, you know, 10 and under, I'll say, we lived in Michigan and my husband worked at a Christian camp and it required him to be gone often and sometimes for long spurts of time. He ran day camps offsite. And so I was a stay-at-home mom with our boys and just imagine a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 10-year-old, right? And in summertime, and my husband being gone a lot, so I just had to do it all. And being an 8, I think really helped me survive, right? Like I just did it, and I didn't feel sorry for myself, or I got stuff done. I did what had to be done. And it served me well. I mean, I remember mowing the lawn with a baby in like a front carrier right here. Like I remember doing stuff like that because the lawn had to be mowed and we couldn't afford to have somebody else do it. My husband was out of town. I just did what had to be done. So I think that helped me just have the stamina and the confidence I needed to, accomplish all the mundane, difficult tasks of being a mom of young kids and just having the energy, right? The energy to parent 4 young boys who they were all athletic, still are. So we spent a lot of time doing active things, which I enjoy. I loved, we'd walk to the park, spend time at the park. We would go to the camp nearby and go hunt for frogs in the creek. And I love to be outside. I love to be active and move my body. So that really helped me just be a good mom to my boys in ways that they enjoyed also.
Yeah. Yeah, the 8 has the most just inborn energy of any of the numbers in the Enneagram. Like just energy that is like flowing all the time. And
Yeah,
sometimes can be hard to
sure.
moderate, but what have you found challenging as an 8?
Control.
Okay. Yeah.
In a word, control. If we had a rule and it was broken, I I would always follow through, right?
Mhm.
Um, but you learn over the course of time you can't really control your kids. You can try. So that was definitely something that I just kind of had to learn on repeat that I can try. I can provide guardrails for them uh, rather than try to control them. So, learning how to give my kids options
Mm.
so that they could have some control.
Yep.
Just trying to even understand myself as an 8 has really helped me parent them well, I think.
How did you handle the anger as an 8 when your kids were little and now?
At the time, I did not know anything about the Enneagram. and honestly had no grasp on the fact that I struggled with anger.
Okay.
I don't think that I even recognized I was having that strong of a feeling. I will say that something that was very helpful for me when our kids were young, and as long as my body would allow it, is I ran all the time for exercise. I was a runner, and I think without that in my daily life as a young mom,
Yeah.
I think I would have gone crazy. So that discipline, every morning I would get up and run while my husband was still at home. Most of the time the kids were still sleeping. Just that physical exertion, I think, really saved me. Like it allows all that energy to have somewhere healthy to go.
Right. As an 8, avoiding vulnerability, how has that impacted your life as a mom? Like, are you able to be vulnerable with your kids? Is that really hard? I'm just curious how vulnerability plays into your role as a mom.
A big thing for me is when I know I'm wrong, saying sorry, like owning it. Like if I'm wrong, I want to own it. If I wrong you, I want to own it and I want to apologize. And I've tried to do that with my kids over the course of time, right? And that requires a level of vulnerability. I mean, you can do it without being vulnerable.
Yeah.
You really can. You can apologize without being vulnerable. But it's not the deep, meaningful restoration that is really needed. Just as our boys have gotten older, we say little people, little problems, big people, big problems, right? Like I've had moments where I've chosen to be vulnerable with my kids about something they're going through, that maybe I went through something similar when I was their age. I've had moments where I chose to be really vulnerable about something that happened to me. But again, it's difficult because you don't know what your kids are going to do with that, right?
Right.
But, I think with wisdom and discernment, we can make those decisions.
Sarah, if there are other moms out there that are 8s, what kind of tips do you have or advice that you would give?
First is to let your kids lead sometimes. So 8s are strong leaders. I have a tendency to like make a plan, let's go, let's do it. But just take time to let your kids lead sometimes.
I love that.
And then the other thing that comes to mind that I use everywhere in my life is the word pause. So it's become really significant to me before I have a hard conversation with my kids, before I discipline my kids, uh, before I make a hard decision about my kids. Just 8s have a tendency to just dive into something. And so that word pause is just something I come back to right now almost daily.
Pause, and I think pause to ask yourself what are my authentic feelings here?
Mm,
I think the pause is around, like, yes, not just being in reaction mode all the time, but we talk about always wanting to approach it from the balance of the 3 centers. So approach it from the balance of, this is what I need to do, this is what I think, and this is how I feel. And layering in the feeling does impact the action that you take.
yes.
It just does every time.
And it's so good that you're in my life because I would never have come up with the pause to feel thought. Recognizing feelings in the moment is a real challenge. It does not come naturally to me at all. It's not something I think about. It's not something I consider. It's not something I give weight to, which I know is not healthy. But yeah, pausing and really trying to recognize what's going on in me right now that I need to just step back and see before I move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's